Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next part. My father tapped his glass and the music cut off mid-song. Everyone, quiet. One last surprise for Ion. Chairs turned. Conversations died. My mother stepped forward with a smile that looked practiced, a white envelope held up like a prize. The fairy lights above us flickered in the silence. Ion, she said into the mic, voice sugary and loud, we wanted to give you something meaningful on your 30th birthday. Something that explains why you've always felt different. A few guests laughed politely. I didn't move. She slid papers from the envelope. A DNA test. My pulse slowed instead of rising. I don't know why. Maybe shock has a way of freezing time. My father took the mic. For years we wondered why he never truly fit into this family, why he never measured up. So we decided to find out the truth. Forks hovered in the air. Someone whispered, "This is uncomfortable." My mother lifted the report higher. According to this, Ion is not our biological son. A ripple passed through the lawn. A glass slipped and shattered somewhere behind me. I could feel 100 eyes pressing into my skin. We raised him anyway, my father continued, calm and sharp, out of kindness. But now he finally understands why he was never really one of us. Never one of us. 30 birthdays, school events, family dinners, all reduced to a public announcement. I didn't argue. I didn't ask questions. I didn't defend myself. I just stood there with my hands loosely folded, listening to my life being rewritten in front of relatives, neighbors, friends. My mother added, almost proudly, we thought he deserved the truth today, so he can stop pretending to be something he's not. In that moment, I understood something about people and noise. The louder they speak, the more they are trying to convince themselves. I looked across the crowd. Cousins avoiding eye contact, guests shifting in their seats. Someone muttered, "This is too much." And then I saw him. Standing near the back gate, still, calm, watching. He wasn't shocked. He wasn't confused. He was waiting. My father followed my gaze and frowned. Who is that? For the first time that night, I felt completely steady. Because the man near the gate already knew the truth. And he hadn't come alone. I looked back at my parents and said quietly, clearly, you really should have checked who I invited before doing this. Their smiles faltered. The man at the back began walking forward. The party didn't end loudly. It ended awkwardly. People left in whispers. Chairs scraped the lawn. My parents avoided my eyes as if the announcement had exhausted them. I didn't argue. I didn't ask questions. I simply thanked a few guests for coming and walked inside. Zoya didn't say much that night. She just handed me a card before leaving. Call me tomorrow, she said calmly. I did. The next morning, the house felt smaller, quieter, like the walls had heard everything. My parents stayed in their room. No one mentioned what happened. I stepped out. Not to escape, but to think. Over the next few days, I met Zoya twice. Each time, she spoke less and listened more. She asked me about my childhood, dates, hospitals, old documents, things I had never paid attention to before. Sometimes truth isn't loud, she said. It's buried in paperwork. While my parents replayed the party in their heads, worrying about what relatives would say, I was doing something else. I was collecting pieces. Old files, birth records, hospital names, dates that didn't match stories I had been told. I didn't confront anyone. I didn't show anger. I simply moved quietly, like someone arranging a puzzle without telling the table what the picture looks like. Meanwhile, the house grew tense. Phone calls from relatives came in daily. My mother defended herself loudly. My father kept saying he needed to know the truth. They were busy explaining. I was busy understanding. Zoya connected me with someone who knew how to read documents better than emotions. Within a week, small inconsistencies started appearing. Dates that didn't align. Signatures that looked copied. A hospital record that didn't exist anymore. Each discovery didn't shock me. It steadied me. Because I wasn't trying to prove them wrong. I was trying to know what was right. At night, I sat quietly, reading papers while the house argued in low voices behind closed doors. A week later, my father called for a family meeting. Same living room, same sofa, same people who had watched me grow up. But this time, the air felt different. Zoya sat beside me, calm as always. Across from us, my parents looked tired, not angry, not proud, just uneasy. My father spoke first. "What is all this, Ayan? Why are you digging into old records?" I didn't answer immediately. I placed a thin file on the table between us. Because the truth you gave me at my birthday wasn't complete. My mother's fingers tightened around her dupatta. Zoya gently slid out the documents. Birth records, hospital logs, adoption paperwork that didn't match dates, signatures that didn't belong to the same person. Silence filled the room. Then Zoya spoke softly. There was no legal adoption, no official transfer, no record that Ayan was ever brought into this family the way you claimed. My father's face drained of color. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying," she continued calmly, "that the DNA test may be real, but the story you built around it for 30 years isn't." My mother's eyes welled up. We were trying to protect ourselves. That sentence said everything. Not protect me. Protect themselves. I felt something shift inside, not anger, not sadness, just clarity, like a fog lifting from memories I had never questioned before. All the times I was told I was different. All the moments I was quietly kept at a distance. It wasn't confusion. It was guilt. They hadn't raised me out of kindness. They had raised me out of fear of a truth they never wanted revealed. I finally spoke, my voice steady. "You didn't humiliate me at my birthday. You exposed yourselves." No one argued. No one defended themselves. My father looked smaller than I had ever seen him. My mother couldn't meet my eyes. "I'm not here for revenge," I continued. "I just needed to know who I am without your version of the story." Tears rolled down my mother's face. "We made mistakes." I nodded. "Yes, you did." I stood up slowly. Zoya stood with me. "I'm not angry," I said, "but I can't stay in a place where the truth was treated like a threat." As we walked toward the door, the house felt unfamiliar, not because it had changed, but because I had. At the threshold, I paused. "For years, I thought I didn't fit here because something was wrong with me," I said quietly. "Now I know it was never me." No shouting, no accusations, just silence thick with realization. They thought I was weak because I was quiet.